Welcome to Versus Mode on English Channel.
We compare daily life to make English simple and fun.
Real life meets real learning.
Compare, learn, speak.
Let's dive in.
Morning, Daniel. I didn't expect to see you here at 8 a.m. You look like you're still half asleep. Is that your third yawn in 5 minutes?
It's more like my 10th, Ellie. I was up until 3:30 a.m. finishing that coding project. I only came here because the library has better Wi-Fi than my apartment this morning. My brain is currently operating at about 10% capacity.
See, that's exactly why I'm a morning studier. I woke up at 6 a.m., did some light stretching, and I've already finished 2 chapters of this history text. My brain feels fresh, like a blank canvas. When you study in the morning, your circadian rhythm is naturally ramping up. You're catching the wave of your body's natural cortisol rise. Word of the day, circadian. That relates to biological processes that occur regularly in a 24-hour cycle. An example is, Daniel and Ellie have very different circadian rhythms. One peaks in the morning, the other at night.
I don't know about waves and blank canvases, Ellie. For me, 6 a.m. is a myth. My brain doesn't even start functioning until the sun goes down. There's a certain pro to the night. The world is silent. No one is texting me. No one is walking around the hallways, and the pressure of the day is over. I feel like I have all the time in the world when it's 1 a.m.
But that's a con in disguise, Daniel. When you study late at night, you're using leftover energy. By the time you get to your difficult tasks, you've already spent the whole day making decisions and talking to people. It's called decision fatigue. I'd rather tackle the hardest math problems when I'm at my peak. Plus, look at this library. It's nearly empty and the light coming through the windows is actually invigorating.
Empty? Ellie, it's creepy. Empty. I like the library at 11 p.m. when it's full of my people, the night owls. We're all in the same boat, fueled by caffeine and desperation. It creates a community vibe. In the morning, everyone looks so productive. It's intimidating. And let's talk about the con of your morning habit. You have to go to bed at 9 p.m. like a Victorian orphan. You miss all the fun social stuff.
I don't miss much. I just prioritize. I'd rather pull an all-nighter once a year than do it every week like you. I like knowing that by 4 p.m., my work is done and I can actually relax. You're stressed all day because you know your workday hasn't even started yet.
It's not stress, it's anticipation. But I'll admit, seeing you finish 2 chapters while I'm still trying to remember my laptop password is a bit demoralizing.
Key phrase, to pull an all-nighter. It means to stay awake all night to study or work. An example is, Daniel had to pull an all-nighter to finish his coding project, leaving him exhausted the next morning.
Okay, I've had some caffeine, and I'm starting to see the screen clearly. Let's talk about the pros of the night study again. One word, interruptions. During the day, my phone is constantly buzzing. Group chats, emails from professors, ads. It's a constant battle for my attention. At night, silence. My phone is dead quiet. That allows for deep work.
I get that, but I use the Do Not Disturb feature. The real con of night studying is your cognitive function. Scientific studies show that sleep deprivation mimics the effects of being drunk. If you're studying at 2 a.m., you're not actually learning as efficiently as you think you are. You might spend 3 hours on a page that would take me 30 minutes at 9 a.m.
Word of the day, cognitive. It relates to the mental processes of perception, memory, judgment, and reasoning. An example is, Ellie argues that cognitive function is much higher in the morning after a full night of sleep. Maybe, but there's a creative pro to the night. When you're a little tired, your internal filter drops. I find that I write much better essays at night. I'm less critical of myself. I just let the ideas flow. In the morning, I'm too sharp, too analytical. I overthink every sentence.
Interesting. I'm the opposite. If I try to write at night, I just end up writing nonsense. But let's talk about beating the rush. When I study in the morning, I can get the best desk in the library, the printer is always free, and I can actually talk to the teaching assistants during their early office hours. By the time you wake up, all the resources are taken.
I'll give you the printer point. I've definitely stood in a line of 20 people at midnight trying to print a lab report. That's a massive con. But what about the pro of the night owl lifestyle regarding heat? In the summer, the library is nice and cool at night. During the day, with the sun hitting these big windows, it feels like a greenhouse in here.
That's why I have this iced coffee, Daniel. It's my secret weapon. But honestly, the biggest con for your side is the health aspect. Long-term night studying messes with your metabolism and your mood. You're always out of sync with society.
Society is overrated, Ellie. But I do miss seeing the sun occasionally. Sometimes I leave the library, and I'm surprised that it's light outside. It feels like I've stepped into another dimension.
That's because you have. You're living in a time zone that doesn't exist. I'd rather beat the rush and enjoy the sunlight while I work. It keeps my mood stable.
Key phrase: to beat the rush. It means to do something before a lot of other people do it, in order to avoid being crowded or delayed. An example is, Ellie likes to get to the library at 7 a.m. to beat the rush and get the best seat.
Look at that rain. Now it's getting cozy. You know, we've talked a lot about when we study, but the ambient environment matters too. In the morning, the library has this hustle and bustle energy. It's motivating. At night, it feels heavy and serious. Word of the day, ambient. It relates to the immediate surroundings of something, the mood or atmosphere of a place. An example is, Daniel prefers the quiet, ambient atmosphere of the library at night when there are fewer distractions.
I like the serious vibe. It makes me feel like I'm doing something important. But I've been thinking about what you said regarding memory. There's actually a pro for night study called sleep-dependent memory consolidation. If I study right before I sleep, my brain processes that information while I'm dreaming. It sticks better.
I've heard of that. But the con is if you don't sleep enough after studying, that consolidation doesn't happen. You're just pouring water into a leaky bucket. I think the best strategy is a mix. I do my heavy input in the morning and maybe some light output in the evening.
That's a fair compromise. I think I hit a wall around 4 a.m. anyway. That's when my brain just shuts off and I start staring at the cursor for 20 minutes without typing a single letter. That's a definite con of the late night session.
Exactly. Why push yourself to the point of exhaustion? Tomorrow, why don't you try a hybrid day? Wake up at 9 a.m., not 6, I won't be that mean, and see if you can get your project done before the sun sets.
I might try it. I'm tired of feeling like a vampire, but you have to promise to try a late-night session with me once. We can get some midnight pizza and see if your analytical brain can handle the 1 a.m. creative flow.
Deal. But I'm bringing an extra large iced coffee. I'll need it to stay awake past 10 p.m.
It's a plan. I think we've both learned that whether it's the morning light or the midnight oil, the most important thing is finding what works for your own internal clock.
Absolutely. Now, let's get back to work. I have 10 more pages to highlight before my next class.
And I have about 500 lines of code that aren't going to write themselves. Cheers to the coffee, Ellie.
And cheers to the laptop fortress, Daniel. Key phrase, to hit a wall. It means to reach a point where you are so tired or discouraged that you cannot continue or make progress. An example is, Daniel usually hits a wall around 4 a.m. and realizes it's time to go home and sleep. So, what about you?
Do you prefer studying in the morning?
Or staying up late at night?
Do you want a fresh start?
Or quiet focus?
Tell us in the comments. Thank you for listening to Versus Mode on English Channel. See you next time.